Welcome, everyone. This is season 3 of the Well That's Horrific podcast. I'm your co-host, Tom Cruise.
And I am Mr. S.
And we're back. This is episode 1 of season 3, man. How long has it been?
Oh man, honestly, it's not that much. July, August, September.
It feels like a long time, though.
Yeah, it feels like a long time, but
it feels a lot longer than it was.
A lot longer than it was. That's true. But I'm glad to be back. I'm very happy to be back. Ecstatic to be back. And you know, what a perfect time too. You know, I think there's a reason why we kind of came back at this time. It's October. It's, you know, the spooky season, as you can see with my hat here.
Season.
It's probably the best time of the year. Great time.
No arguments here. Definitely the best time of the year for me. My birthday's this month, guys. Just want to say that too.
October 29th, right?
Yes. Thank you for remembering.
Yep.
So spooky season, October. A lot of things going on. We've missed out on a lot, right? I mean, it's been a couple months since our last episode, and there's been a lot of new horror movies, a lot of new announcements. What do we want to touch on today?
I think we can touch on the most recent thing that's kind of like fresh in our minds, and that is Smile. For me, I just want to
Are you telling me to smile, or are you okay? You're not telling me.
You know what? I want to ask you something, okay. And I don't want you to hold back. Give me your creepiest smile right now.
Creepiest smile. I don't know. I thought about this. I used to. So fun fact, guys. Did you ever watch the movie Truth or Dare?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Do you remember the creepy smile?
Yes. My brother actually brought this up to my attention too. Same thing.
My girlfriend hates me because, like, if we watch a movie and there's something that happens in the movie, I'll try to scare her with that same thing. So when that movie came out, we were in a cruise and we saw the movie, and then I kept on doing the.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually.
And then I would just stare at her, and I actually thought about doing this time around, but I was like, you know what, let me not stop. Because I would do it random. It would just be like, you know, we'll stop at a gas station or something, and then I'll just stop in the middle and just turn around and smile at her. It would just be creepy. Like the timing was like really bad, and it would really, really scare her.
You know what's funny about that? Because I showed my wife the Smile trailer, and we were in our living room, and it was like dark. And I was like, you know, you want to go watch this movie? And like I was, you know, trying to get her into it, and I showed her the trailer, and it was like dark. And when the trailer ended, like I just hear her say, she goes, "Why would they do that? Why would they take something so nice like a smile and just turn it?" And then like she didn't even know that I was like behind her like this. She looked at me. She goes, "Stop! Don't do that." I'm like, all right, I won't do that anymore. But yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love it that they, you know, they take something so like you mentioned, so something so nice, or something supposed to be so cheerful, and make it scary all of a sudden. So I'm for it.
Before we get into that, I want to just say I think the marketing in this movie is something that I don't think I've ever seen before. The extent that, you know, they went to with like the baseball games and like the news reporters, like, you know, behind them, like they just kept standing like behind, like, yo, think about it. They paid people to sit in a baseball game.
Wait. So you're gonna have to fill me in on this because I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Oh,
baseball
dude,
ad. No,
you gotta see this.
I did not see it. I can pull it up right now.
Pull it up right now. You'll see it. Right,
like, baseball game.
Yeah, and like you'll see like a legit like and multiple people, multiple games. They're standing there like in the fan section, and just bro, like for like a good amount of time. I'm like, bro, like their face can like freeze like that.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. Does they have like yellow shirts?
Yeah, man, and also like you have them like in news reporters will be like talking with the mic, and they're like just standing there behind them like smiling. I'm just like, that is
genius.
Well thought out. That's genius.
It's
I've never seen like anything. I've seen ads of like posters and stuff like that before. I've never seen that. Like, can you think like for like Michael Myers Halloween, like somebody dressed in a suit, you know?
I feel like this happened before. I don't remember, guys. Comment below if this has happened before, but I'm pretty sure there's been a premise of a movie that they've advertised it similarly in real life, where like in this particular instance you're seeing them smile. I think there was another instance where something like this happened, where like
please refresh my memory, but
something like I don't recall off the top of my head, and obviously if I knew what the movie was, I would tell you what they did, but I feel like something like this happened before for sure.
Right. Yeah. With that being said, we can now dive deep into the movie and kind of review it. as always, spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Smile, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. And here we go. You want to start this off, or should I?
I'll start. Smile, directed by Parker Finn. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. That's the synopsis. Again, directed by Parker Finn, stars Susie Bacon, Jesse T. Usher, and Kyle Gallner, which we've seen in a shit. He's in Scream. He's in The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah, I was excited to see Susie Bacon. She looks a lot like her dad and mom. It's like a perfect mixture of both of them. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
She absolutely kills it in this role. I don't know if you agree or not.
Wonderful. Amazing performance on behalf. Like I don't think I've ever seen her in anything before. I'm being just completely honest.
I've never seen her in anything.
I've never seen her in anything before. If I were to judge her just based off this movie, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Her actions, her cries, her concerns, everything that was every emotion possible displayed perfectly by her. And 100%. I loved every second of it.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
The intro sequence. I think there was a great shot in this movie, and I know we were briefly talking about it off screen, but I mean off the recording here. But the title scene, man, that title scene really got me. Like just the flash and the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie is actually really good.
Everything, score, soundtrack, everything, sound effects, like
amazing.
Like it's all wonderful. And for me, I don't know about you, but it kind of reminded me of like an 80s type score. Like I could be wrong here, but that's the impression that I got, and I feel like that's why it worked so well. I feel like if you had like different sounds, it just wouldn't work. And
I just really enjoyed the flashing of the title screen with the loud noise and
It kind of reminded you like The Exorcist. Like I don't know if you ever remember, like when they first showed the trailer to The Exorcist, it was kind of like the same way. Like there were even warnings for people before because of like the strobes and like the lights.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was absolutely amazing. This movie starts off fantastic. Yes. I think, and that's one thing about this movie throughout that I enjoyed. First of all, I just want to say that walking into this movie, I did not expect this movie to be as good. Because we were in a time like where not a lot of horror content is out like that yet. I think because everybody's waiting for October and to release everything.
And usually when they hold these movies back, they're just like, it's October, so let's just release a horror movie. They really don't put that much effort into making it that good. I feel like
right,
oftentimes there's just horror movies that are just horror movies for the sake of being a horror movie, not really like much thought put into it. Versus this, like there was clearly something there. There's clearly a lot of work done in this movie. The cast and crew did an amazing job. From the actors to the score, like you mentioned, the director did a great shot. There was a great shot. He did a great job, but there was a great shot of, I don't know if you remember this scene, the sky view of the patient going into the hospital.
Yes, and when she took out the ambulance.
Yeah, and then it pans up, and you see the doorway of the doctor that she's visiting her boss. Actually, she's visiting her boss, and she knocks on the door, and it goes through the window. I was like, this is a great shot.
Yeah, no, the transitions in the shots were amazing, and also like the upside down shots. Yeah, I thought those were great. I think for me, what I got from that was like frown upside down. Related to smiles, and that's like something so simple, but so effective, and that's why I appreciated it. But like I said, the flow of this movie, I think it flowed beautifully because it wasn't too slow, it wasn't too fast. It had like a consistent flow.
The pacing was great.
Exactly. Pacing was great with story, with jump scares, with what you call it, those scenes where like she thinks something's happening, but she realizes it's actually not.
I felt like the jump scares actually were really good. The only one that I saw coming, I even appreciated. So my favorite jump scene, arguably my favorite jump scene, I saw it coming and I still appreciated it only because the amount of work that they put into it. I don't know if you remember a while ago. You remember that maze game? Do you remember that maze game that it was like the Exorcist would come up and scream at you? Do you remember? No?
Yeah, the very old one at the end. It's like very thin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did
yeah.
something very similar. It's the easiest way I could describe it is where she's playing the tape back and back. She's playing the tape. She hears something in the tape. She
Yeah.
rewinds it. She
Yeah.
puts it a little bit louder. Then they keep on doing that. They do it 4 times, almost suggesting that she's gonna hear something on the 4th time, only for you to get a jump scare. I was like, it's fucking perfect, man. They really like. If it wasn't me, you would have got me. You know what I mean?
No, dude, listen, I'm telling you, I agree with you. You knew definitely something was coming there, but at the same time, like the things, that's one thing I have here in my notes because I made sure to write these down. I don't want to forget anything. The things that are annoying in other horror movies in like terms of like jump scares worked beautifully here. Like it was like what you just mentioned, and also when she's in bed, do you know when she's in bed and she hears she hears somebody calling her name in the
and
bathroom?
she just turns around.
I'm like, yo, like so simple but so creepy and
yeah,
eerie,
it's perfect.
and
It's
like,
perfect
it's
because another
perfect,
movie wouldn't
man.
have done it that way. Another
Exactly.
movie would have done
Exactly.
it. Whatever. Something else would have happened there, and I think that was perfect. And I think honestly, I had to look up her name. Caitlin Stacy. She was the first girl, the girl that the patient, right?
The patient, that yeah,
She did a great job. She played a really creepy,
Right.
like whatever. When the entity was her,
yeah,
it was really really good.
yeah.
I had to look her up because I was like, wow, she was really creepy in this movie.
Everyone, I think the casting was really great in this movie. Besides one person, and that to me was her husband, Jesse T. Usher.
Let's go. I said the same thing.
He
I was like, I
was-
seen you in The Boys, and I was like, I don't know if it's him, the character, or both. Because I feel like I want to blame the character, but I also want to blame him because it just felt like they weren't even a couple. Like it just felt like they were so
exactly. Like,
disconnected.
and listen, like I get it, like like a husband, wife. I get what they're trying to do here, but like I think his performance and his character both just weren't, cohesive, and that because of that, I didn't feel anything from him. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I don't want to blame it all on him. But
No,
I
I'm
think-
not blaming it on him,
Wait,
but
wait.
I just didn't see it. Like
No, exactly. So here's what I say. I say it's both him and the character because I think the character could have been done better. I
Yeah.
would have liked to see how somebody else would have executed it, but I think the character itself wasn't written well. Oh, not written well, but it was written in a way where like I don't know, just not believable almost to the
Right,
point.
exactly,
And-
exactly.
And I get it because at the end you get the big reveal that she was like, "Oh, I've been putting up these walls, and you were the only one to really get." You were starting to break down the walls, so basically that's why they split or whatever. That was
Right.
the cop, and I guess it goes to show like what her relationship was like with her fiance or her husband, whatever.
Right,
And I get it, but it just I'm with you. I
yeah.
exactly what you said was my conversation when I got out of the theater. I said he's the only one that I was like, everybody else I thought killed it. I thought the sister killed it. I thought the therapist killed it. I thought even Kyle, I thought he did a great job.
Great cast overall.
Yeah, I think it was a great
Overall,
cast.
great
Overall.
cast.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was good to see, and just I want to talk about the story itself and the concept itself because I think there's a lot of things here in this movie that people have to understand. Like it's like reading between the lines because of the messages this movie tries to propagate, and for that, it's trauma, man. Like you
It's
have
all
some
trauma.
Yeah, it's all trauma, and like for me, it's like there's so many obviously we like things that are very serious, like schizophrenia, dementia, Alzheimer's, all these mental issues, and it's portrayed here beautifully because I don't know if you like this, but the mother, right? Starting off the movie with her mother in bed, and like she's saying how her mom's a monster, and then throughout the whole movie she kind of represents her that way, and that to me is a beautiful connection because she's a therapist, right? And like I guess that's one thing. If I wanted to like nitpick, like is like in the beginning she probably could have handled it like a therapist, but she was like off the rip, like scared, which is fine. But
I feel like she tried to at least
very
And
little
then
bit after the
it
first
was-
night,
No, honestly, but I don't blame her because it was just like so much happened that even her mind couldn't justify it
right?
with her knowledge of being a therapist. It
Right,
just didn't
but I
make
also
sense.
guess also the connection with her mom too kind of made it a little bit more vulnerable. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not really reaching for that. That's not a problem. But the fact that her as a therapist going through these things just makes it more real, makes it more believable. Like these people actually go through these problems, and like
Yeah.
the scenes itself too, where like for the phone call when the alarm breaks in, right, and like she's on the phone call, and then like boom, like it rings again, like that whole scene never happened, but in her head it did. Like
Yeah.
that's something that's very real today, you know, and
No,
the
no,
fact that
100%. I didn't think about that until now in terms
yeah,
of like, you know, what other ideas there are there.
yeah,
But in terms of the whole mom thing, it's not to say that I didn't like that. The only thing that I mentioned to you briefly before was um, something that actually my girlfriend brought up, and I agreed with her. I just felt like, what was really the point behind her having past trauma if it didn't necessarily lead to a different outcome? So I thought that the movie would not the movie was pitched, but the I thought the implication was, you know, she was moving past this trauma, and this was going to help her overcome the entity. But in the end, her overcoming her trauma and everything just led to the same result. And it wasn't like the entity was looking for people who had trauma. It was just causing trauma because it was feeding off of these people, right? So like, in if you think about it that way, her past didn't really matter. The outcome was the same. Was going to be the same no matter what.
right. So you make a really great point, and there's nothing wrong with that. I tie it to: do we have cures for schizophrenia? Do we have cure for Alzheimer's? Do we have cure for like anything like that? You know, trauma related? We don't. So because her mom was represented in that way, she was as well, and that's one thing that I was hoping. Like when I was watching this movie, I was saying, please don't come up with a solution that's going to just upset me, because I really couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Like everything was an enigma. I couldn't think of anything,
Of
and
course.
then the ending, the way, you know, it kind of like consumed her, and she like did the same thing and she killed herself. I'm like,
With your
Beautiful.
additional layer of what you mentioned, it makes sense. It makes sense because there is no solution, and even in
Right.
real life, if you're looking at it from that layer, from that, I guess if you're looking at it from a more simple point of view of like the movie itself,
Right.
then you have the question that I have. But if you look at it from your layer, where you're saying like, okay, there's a bigger picture here, there's a bigger meaning behind all of this, then yes, of course, it does make total sense because there's no cure for any of this. Yeah, that makes the movie a lot darker and a lot sadder too.
yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's why this movie worked so well. Like everything was done well. Like there's a line there that got me like, it gave me chills when she's like battling like her mom, or the demon mom, or whatever you want to call it, and it says like, your mind is so inviting. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that insane? Like, didn't that touch you too? Like, I'm just like, yo, that whole scene itself was just so.
Okay, so is the movie about trauma or is it about mental illness? Which one?
I
From
think
what you mentioned it, I think you have to lean towards mental illness then.
I mean, I'm not saying it's about mental illness, because obviously it's not. It's about this entity, right?
No,
But
in you know, when you're looking at it in a deeper
yeah,
layer,
but like, if I mean, it's hard to
the meaning
not
behind
think.
it.
I know, but it's hard to not think about it that way too. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously she's an educated woman. She's a therapist. Like, she knows to not commit suicide or hurt herself or see things that are not there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because this is obviously a pattern. Like when they investigate the files and see that it's been happening to everybody, you know? So if I'm looking at the movie straight on as it is, you're like, no, you know, but like when I try to tie it to what they're possibly, you know, saying, then yeah, you know, like I guess you kind of like pick and choose. But
listen, I agree with you. Now that you mention that, the ending makes a lot more sense. I feel like
Yeah.
if you see it from that point of view, then the ending makes a lot more sense.
yeah, and that's why the ending itself, I was really, really pleased with the ending, because I did not want. It's sad to say it. I'm not trying to say anything, you know, towards anyone, but like, I think a happy ending would have been horrible.
So here's my thing, right? This is what I always like to explain when it comes to these movies. Is like, the ending is usually where they drop the ball. That's number one, usually, right?
No,
I don't mind. I
Sorry,
I don't mind. Like a not happy ending. Like you know, I don't like. I don't mind if the entity or the evil in this case wins, as long as it's executed properly.
right.
I just feel like, what would the alternative be? Let's say they come up with let's say she
Murdered
burnt-
someone.
No, but let's be honest here, right? let's say even instead of her murdering somebody, because that was presented as a solution, but we knew she was really never gonna really do that. Let's say her burning the demon was that was the end of the movie, right? What would have really happened? Come back to our world now. We're watching the movie. She burned the entity. She goes back to the cop. She stays over. What would have really happened? Here's what would have happened. That would have happened, and then you would have cut to another scene where she saw somebody smiling at her, and then it would have faded to black. There was gonna be a cliffhanger no matter what. Is the way I see it.
Right.
Every one of these movies, if you go back, and I say one of these movies, I mean like traditional horror movies in general. Even when there's a solution, they tend to leave a cliffhanger to, lead to something else.
Like, go ahead.
It's not original. I feel like this better suited the movie, and I can appreciate 100%.
Awesome.
And now with your additional layer, I feel like I appreciate it even more. I think you just made my rating go up slightly above.
Oh, really? That's awesome. I'm glad. Well, that's why I like these conversations that we have, because we learn from each other. Like I'm not saying I see everything. You see things that I don't, so that's why I appreciate it too. But the ending that you mentioned too, like when you mentioned Truth or Dare, right? Yeah. Do you remember the ending to that? Like they had to have the whole.
It's very forgettable.
Yeah, exactly.
Very forgettable.
They had to like make the whole world involved in the game.
Yeah,
with the
it was
video.
some stupid shit.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm pleased, and I think this ending is actually perfect for Smile. And just like I mentioned, like there's so many things that they did well in this movie with the story, the characters, the jump scares, the scenes where she thinks something's happening but they're not, like just so many things spread it like beautifully. And like I think I was even having a conversation with Jarrell too, and he said I don't think this movie deserves a sequel, like, because there's no need. And I agreed with him. I'm like, I don't think so.
I'm actually going to get to that, but here's the thing, right? The movie does. This is like the world we live in, right? The movie does well. You think they're not going to greenlight a sequel, and it shouldn't. But we all know what happens in the sequel. They butcher it and they make a terrible movie. It's very difficult for them to follow.
More often than not.
Yeah, more often than not. Usually, unless the same writer director decides to make a sequel, and they can come with something. Usually, it's just a cash grab that the studio wants to make, and then they'll make a sequel. It'll sell because the first one did well, but then the movie itself would be bad. Yeah. I mean, that's usually the way things occur. Not to be the bearer of bad news, but
no, you're speaking the truth, and that's unfortunate. But I don't know. I don't see like another sequel happening. It shouldn't happen, because like then you're gonna have a whole different cast, and then it's gonna obviously tie back to this story somehow, and just like it's kind of the same premise, unless you're giving me something completely different.
Well, let's kind of move on to something close but different. This movie shares a lot of common qualities with a lot of other movies. Yes. Can you name a few off the top of your head? Outside of like Truth or Dare, that was just a smile.
Qualities like other movies?
Yeah, there's a big obvious one, right? It's a spreading entity. What else? What other movies have spreading entities? There's a couple of them.
Like Exorcist and whatnot?
No, It Follows. You don't remember It
Follows?
Oh
yeah, It Follows, when they have sex and then you gotta have sex with somebody else to pass it on. Yeah, You're right.
It's an STD demon. Which I would argue this movie, definitely was inspired by to a certain degree.
Yep.
And I vaguely remember this movie, and I'm actually opening it up right now. Wasn't the Bye Bye Man something similar to? Where like,
oh my god, the Bye Bye Man, I was looking forward to it so much, and then I just I feel like I watched like the first half hour and just stopped.
Yeah, but wasn't the Bye Bye Man something similar to? Or
was well, that's because
following from person to person.
Well, I thought it was they see him from the house, because they're in the house, and that's the entity there, and like they have like the book and everything. I mean, I might be wrong here.
Yeah, no, you might be right. I felt like that was something else that I felt was similar. But okay, either way,
Truth or Dare is similar. You said too, right?
Truth or Dare, It Follows, and I feel like there's been other movies where it's this sort of thing where the entity follows. Yeah. I think It Follows probably started this trend. But this is like a more high-end version. I really enjoyed It Follows, especially it being indie and
yes.
And all of that. But I thought this movie did a great job in general. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. What's your rating for this?
Ooh, I had it like pretty close to a 9. I'm gonna go ahead and just say 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I thought this movie was pretty perfect, to be honest. I don't really have any gripes outside of the husband.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I've mentioned this before. Acting great, story great, pacing great, jump scares great. Ending
This might be the
beautiful.
horror movie of the year.
Yeah, ending is beautiful, and what you call it, the ties to like real world problems, I think, is just another great touch.
This might be the best horror movie of the year right now.
Smile deserves every praise it gets. Great movie, must watch. 9 out of 10.
Yep,
9 out of 10. 100%. Absolutely.
Again, I was already at a 9 out of 10, and you sold it on me even more. Shit. So
I'm glad. I'm really glad. Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on, what do you want to... I mean, it's kind of hard for us to not talk about Halloween Ends.
What about
Halloween? So Halloween Ends is coming out October 14th.
And as you know, we're big Halloween fans.
We're huge. Favorite horror franchise ever. The trailer came out in our absence, and I just want to mention the first trailer. It was like a minute and something, like 15, 20 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was a beautiful trailer. Not a lot was given. And because of that, I had a flip of switch here. I decided moving forward, I'm not going to see anything anymore about this movie. The final trailer came out a couple of days ago. I have not seen it. I went to go see Smile, and the trailer came on. I just saw the pumpkin. I've never in my life pressed so hard in my ears and hummed la la la, you know, all that
Did
to
you
make
look
sure.
away from the screen?
I looked away. I didn't hear a single thing. And the reason why I'm doing this, and I just want to make it clear that
that's the best thing you could do, honestly.
Yes, exactly. I think it's the best thing that I can do right now, and it's really bittersweet for me because, like, I'm very excited to see this movie. It's off the charts. But like Halloween Kills, like I knew it was like the second movie of a trilogy. I'm like, I can watch this and like, not care too much, and I'm saying like I had a little bit more free, area. But this one, I haven't seen it, and I like that I don't know much to what's going on because there's a lot of curiosity here, a lot of things going on. What I did get from the first trailer, I just want to say this real quick, is that there is obviously a 4-year gap. We know this. We know that, Laurie's writing a memoir. We know that there's a guy named Corey Cunningham who's been accused of killing someone he babysitted. It's all in the description in the YouTube video, so this is not news. No spoilers here. And also, there's a possible copycat killer or something of that nature because in the trailer, like he opens the door with his left hand and like all 5 fingers are there. We know Michael's got blown off by Laurie. That's it. That's all I know. I'm not saying anything else. Tommy, do you have anything to say about Halloween Ends?
No comment.
No comment. Tommy, I don't know if he saw it already or if he didn't see it already. Maybe he was part of something that he got to see it and was like, grateful and can't say anything about it. So is that the case?
In 10 days, we get to watch it. Or 11
There you go.
So October 13th, right? That's when we have our... That's day 0, man. Let's watch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy's not saying much. I respect it. There's a reason. And we are both very, very excited. We're going to be watching it together, of course. And that whole episode is going to be just on Halloween Ends and, completing the trilogy and seeing David Gordon Green's. By the way, Tom, I want to say something. I don't know if you saw this tweet, but David Gordon Green was like, every day I'm thinking about changes. And I don't want to be predictable. I don't want like this to be the same franchise we've seen. So I literally called up producers and just like, you know what? Maybe we can change this. And he's talked about changing the ending too. Like, David Gordon Green is ballsy, and like that's one thing that I'm expecting, and I don't know how I feel about it, is I feel like this movie is going to be a different movie than what I think it is. And I am expecting one of them to live. Jamie Lee Curtis playing Laurie Strode, the final girl. Thank you for everything that you've done for bringing me into this horror world. She's been very emotional with her videos online on social media talking about Halloween Ends, and almost every time she talks about it she's emotional, which is some significance there. And also, if you guys don't know already, Halloween Ends will be playing in theaters and on Peacock. Same day. Now, I want to bring this back to you because this is something you probably can comment on. Do you think Halloween Ends will have a different version on Peacock, which will make people go see it in theaters to see if there's a different version in theaters? Something I want to ask you.
I think that would be interesting.
Because
interesting.
They have to do something.
I think that would be interesting, but I think it comes down to they probably already have a deal with Peacock.
True.
I don't know if they would do that. I think that would be genius. That would be amazing. I don't know if that would do that. I don't know because then you establish like is one not like it would make sense if it was almost like if it was like a prequel or something or it connected to the one in the theater, but not like a completely different ending because then it's like I just saw this movie and which one's real, which one's not. You know what I mean? It's gonna create that sort of dilemma where like
exactly
which one has the real ending, which one doesn't. Versus if if it was a different movie, like if it was I don't know, if they weren't releasing the whole movie and it was like a first 30 minutes on Peacock sort of thing, that would make sense. But I don't know if what you're saying makes sense. I don't know if they would do that, but I mean it would be awesome if they did, right? I think that would be smart.
I think it would be smart only because like you did it last year. You put Peacock on there and like it was fine. Halloween Kills did pretty well. Like honestly, I think it did pretty well on the numbers. It ranks number 2 all time, and lifetime gross is 92 million. 92 million.
Yeah, but if you really thought the movie did well, I don't know why you would bring it back to Peacock and not encourage people to watch it in the theater.
But that's my gripe with this. Last year, I'll understand it. Fine, COVID, whatever, sure. And that's why. And like, think about it. If it wasn't on Peacock, like and at these numbers would have been up.
And another just food for your thought is why not at least put it a week later? You know what I mean? Give people at least a week of exclusivity. But the fact that you're releasing it at the same time is like you're killing your audience.
Exactly. And I'm sure, like you mentioned the deal before, and like they're probably making some money. But like, for me as a fan, I want this to succeed, and I'd rather show it on the box office numbers as opposed to whatever money they get. You know?
But here's where you have to see it from their end, and this you may like or may dislike. You have to see it like this, right? You made a movie, right?
Right.
Let's say you made a movie. It cost you $10 million, right? Okay. I'm offering you $100 million to bring it to my platform.
Okay.
Which then allows all my subscribers to watch it.
Okay.
You could say no and take it to the theaters and risk the movie making $100 million, or you could sell it to me and you got a guaranteed $100 million. What do you do?
you make a valid point, but my thing is
here's my question to you: how do you make that decision? Think about it. What do you factor in? You factor in whether or not people are going to like the movie and whether or not they're going to go to the theater. So to me, them not bringing it to theaters kind of shows a lack of faith.
It's not. I know. I know you're gonna point to that. I knew you were gonna point to that, and you're probably right. I think maybe because of the numbers, man, the numbers of Halloween Kills and the whole COVID scenario and the whole Peacock thing. Maybe they're like, you know what, they can't risk it again, so they probably just took the safe route. Which
But what numbers? If we know the first one did very well, the second one you can't really count. You can't count kills because it was.
I count kills as a success.
I know, but what I'm saying is they can't count kills as anything because of the time that it was released. They had no choice.
Right.
So
right.
It really comes down to the third movie where they're like, do we gamble, or do we just? Basically, they're saying, do we gamble our money, or do we go with the for sure, guaranteed money from Peacock? And they decided to go with the for sure. They knew that it was guaranteed money with Peacock. They said, okay, let's do it. Let's just do that, and we're good.
Yeah. I'm hoping it does well. I know I'm hoping
it does well too.
Yeah, I'm hoping it does well too. I think I just want to appreciate the time that we are living in right now. 1978, first release, Halloween. I fell in love with it at such a young age, and every time I watch it, I always get this feeling of, damn, it was 1978. Like, I wish I was part of that. I wish I got to see, this franchise grow, Yeah. And now, here we are, fast forward 44 years later, the ending, the closure for that first movie is now, and I get to go to a movie theater and, like, witness this. That's it's a blessing, honestly. And as a horror fan, too, it's absolutely a dream come true. Of course.
So it's one of the things that I appreciate, and we'll touch on something else come October 13th. But There's a lot of things there that I appreciate.
Yeah. Okay. With that being said, I think we're gonna leave it at that. If you're looking forward to it, let us know. We will definitely be talking about it when it comes out. Moving on. I wanted to talk to you about just upcoming horror projects that are coming out that people should be aware of, and what you got to tell them. So,
sure.
Take it away.
Before we even get to that, we've been recording for some time here. You see my nice little background here.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody was wondering, every year I do 30 days of horror, where I select 30 movies for 30 days. So this year, this is my calendar here, pretty much in the order in which I'm going to watch them. Yesterday, I did see Hocus Pocus 2. I don't know if you did. If you haven't, I think it was released yesterday, correct?
I saw it. It was released September 30th. I liked it a lot.
30th. Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
So that's the first movie on my list. You'll notice that there is another movie at the very, very bottom corner that I keep on telling Mr. S to watch. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I just think that movie was so much fun. I have already seen this movie, but for the record.
You know what? I'll do you a solid. I'll go watch it. I was not going to watch it. I don't like
You don't have to go watch it.
It's Among Us on, a fraternity portraying Among Us. And it's like, okay, cool.
Just watch it. Just it's just for fun. Just for fun.
Okay, for fun.
Usually the way I make these lists is I try to take a little bit of every genre, every subgenre of horror. But if you see the movie on this list, believe it or not, it's because I have not seen it. These are movies that I have missed.
Yep.
So this year's theme was just trying to catch up on horror movies. I've never seen P2. That's today's movie. Tomorrow's Firestarter. I know that they just remade that movie. I've never seen it. Henry's another one that I know that a lot of people talk about, never seen. I think the only movie on this list that I have seen is Bodies, 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 of course, and Hocus Pocus, because that was yesterday's movie. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on that. We will share a link to this in case people wanted to follow and see what movies I'm watching. Besides that, what I did want to talk about, did you see who is making another Hellraiser movie?
I saw a tweet.
Yes.
It's not a. It has nothing to do with the actual movie's Hellraiser, right? It's a remake. It's a whole remake?
Yes, it's a remake. And it's directed by David Bruckner, which, if you know who David Bruckner is, he directed some of VHS, and he also directed The Night House, which we reviewed here.
Yes. Good movie, by the way.
Yes.
But no, I think I read it where he said that he was trying to go away from everything people knew, or he was going a different route or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a trailer for it, and it seems very interesting. Immediately, I can tell that it's very artistic, which I appreciate, and I think it works very well with Hellraiser. Given that the movie is very gory, I like that they're taking an artistic approach to the gore and the way the designs of the Cenobites, whatever they're called. It looks very interesting. I am very intrigued, and this is another one of those Hulu movies. This actually comes out in a week, so it comes out October 7th on Hulu. And if you guys missed it, Hulu has been on a streak of very good movies. They also came out with the recent Predator movie called Prey. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Mr. S, but it's actually really good. So
I heard I have to.
I'm definitely probably gonna add this to the list and watch it and try to sneak it in. Maybe have a day that I have two movies. But yeah, that's one of the movies that I definitely didn't want to put on anybody's radar. It's a new Hellraiser, complete remake directed by David Bruckner, and it's out in a week.
Oh, very good. Good things to keep an eye out for. Ladies and gentlemen, Chucky Season 2 is coming out October 5th on Sci-Fi and USA, or just Sci-Fi this time?
There's a lot of things coming out there.
Ooh. And then October 6th is Terrifier 2.
I've never seen Terrifier.
Oh my God, you have to watch Terrifier, man.
So
I've
seen it. Can you give me a brief description of what Terrifier is? Because I know the design, I know the
bro, a killer clown. Like, I think this is probably where the killer clown trends probably started from, to be quite honest with you. And this movie,
I'm pretty sure that was John Wayne Gacy. But
so, oh my God, you didn't have to go there, especially with the whole Jeffrey Dahmer stuff coming.
Okay, continue.
By the way, that's horrific too. If you guys want to watch that, apparently it's getting crazy good reviews, and Evan Peters is just phenomenal.
But now it's created a whole trend. But continue.
Phenomenal actor. No, it's about a killer clown, and he had a couple of friends. I think 3 people of them go into this like building, and he traps them, and like he kind of it's very tortury. It's like very gore, like very very gory, and it's very
Is there, so I'm trying to see. I looked it up and I found another movie with the same clown on it. All Hallows Eve. Is there 3 movies? How many movies are there?
Maybe they probably did like a reboot or no, like a what do you call those movies where like they make fun of other movies?
Oh, it says edited into All Hallows Eve. Oh, that's interesting. So it says Terrifier was edited into.
Yeah, man.
So maybe it was like a short film or something. I don't know. I'll definitely gonna look into this. I know this is something that the horror community keeps on talking about, and I have not seen.
Yeah. On Halloween night, Tara Hayes finds herself as an obsession of a sadistic murderer known as Art the Clown. I've seen this when I was still living in New York. 2017, I want to say I've seen it, and it was just wow. Like, there's not a lot of story here. I'll tell you that much. It's not a lot of story. Dialogue is, okay, but it's a lot of, like I said, torture stuff. Like a lot of gruesome ways to kill someone.
From what I'm looking, it looks like it started from like a short film thing. It's almost like VHS.
Yeah, like an indie type film.
Yeah. But what I mean is like, I mentioned that I saw another movie, or I looked up another movie here that says All Hallows Eve. It's actually on my watch list.
All Hallows Eve. That sounds very familiar. Hold on.
Yeah, it's basically the same premise as the movie VHS. I get it. Okay, I'll give this a watch, guys. If you've seen Terrifier, please comment below. Let us know what you think. Let me know if I should watch it or if I should replace another movie on this list. I know not all of these movies are technically horror. Some of them are just some that I missed.
Yeah. So yeah, All Hallows Eve does have Art the Clown in there.
Yeah.
So it probably, I didn't see this All Hallows Eve though. Sounds very familiar.
It seems like I guess the premise is pretty much the same premise as VHS. Maybe VHS got it from there.
Yeah, it's the same writer and director too.
As VHS.
Wow, this is actually great. So now I'm gonna put this on my list.
Oh no, it's the same writer director as Terrifier. Yeah,
as Terrifier.
But I was saying the premise of the movie seems like the same premise as the movie VHS, where it's like they find the VHS and it has all these horror movies inside.
This is awesome.
Or horror events inside.
Yeah. Okay. That's that. We also have Pearl came out. I know Pearl already came out. I didn't get a chance to watch it. You watched it.
I saw Pearl. I said it was really, really good. That's on my list for like so. I would give Pearl 9 out of 10. It's just one of those things where like you appreciate it more, obviously, had you seen X.
Yeah.
But it's great. My girlfriend had never seen X, and she really liked Pearl though.
Correction that I want to make when we reviewed X. Ty West is his name, I think.
Yes, Ty West.
Ty West was not in the movie, but he made the character, the cameraman, look exactly like him and portray him. So I want to be clear on that. I think I had said that once. I go back and look and fact check things just in case.
So I'll go ahead and say this, and it's not a spoiler really, and I think I may have already told you this, but they are making another.
Yes, it's
a sequel to X. It's called Maxine. So it's gonna be a part of the trilogy, which is Pearl, X, and Maxine.
Yep. What else is there? I feel like there's a couple of things, but I don't. Scream is done in terms of production and filming, and it's going to be released March 31st. Everyone knows that.
Which is already around the corner if you really think about it. That's not too far.
2023 is 3 months away.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I do want to talk about October itself and like the spooky season and things to do and what attractions to visit. So I want to just, if you have any ideas, like you can let us know.
Yes. I'm actually doing a couple things this October. I tend to go to Salem every year just to, enjoy the environment there. It's very, very nice, especially in October. I am doing Salem. I'm also going to the Eastern State Penitentiary. They're doing a horror attraction there. They always have a horror attraction there, but I have never been. So I'm excited for that. There's also Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. I know that's not a horror thing, but that is this month. It's actually a week from now. And then, what else?
So you mentioned Salem. Salem.
Salem is
the thing.
There's the one that you wanted to do. Well, I'll let you go to it.
So here's the thing. Salem, my brother's going, and he invited me too. He invited me at the end of the month, and I'm still debating if I should go, only because I have something to take care of, personal stuff. But Salem is a must. Like, if you have the opportunity to go to Salem, do it. And where you going? Eastern State Penitentiary, right?
Yes.
You're going? Do that too. It's eerie. I heard it's very eerie. I've never been eerie. You can do that. You can go to Six Flags if you're in the tri-state area. Fright Fest. I tend to do that every year. It's very,
Yeah, I did it last year.
Yeah, it gets
I've
into
done
the
it.
season.
I've done it the last 2 years, I think.
Yep.
But there's the big one, the one that you wanted to go to.
Oh my God, Universal.
Yes, Universal Halloween Horror Nights.
Universal Halloween Horror
California.
Nights.
That's one of
Check
the
this
last
out. Check this out. I had booked tickets. I booked my plane rides to go there, and again, something came up. I had to go. As you know, I went to Germany. I went to Berlin, and I couldn't. I had to cancel my flight and everything to go to Germany, which is fine. Like, I don't mind Germany. It was an absolute blast. I had an amazing time there, but Halloween Horror Nights, it's very obviously they have a couple of houses that you visit, and
They usually do themes based on what's going on or what movies are out. I think this year they were doing Michael Myers, right?
They were doing Michael Myers, and that's the reason why I wanted to go so badly. It costs money. It's expensive. I'll tell you that, because you have to buy the pass to get in, express pass, and plus the general admission.
You need like general admission. Yeah, it makes
that's insane. Like, I was telling the guys, like, yo, like, and this doesn't start until 6 o'clock, and it ends around 12, 1 o'clock. So for 6 hours, I'm paying like all this money.
You need general admission to get into the park, and then you need admission to actually attend the.
Because I wanted to skip every line, man. Like, the guy was like, he goes, "You have to." I'm like,
but
bro,
I think
like,
it's still two.
Yeah, it's
still
insane. Yeah,
it's the same thing but isn't the same thing for Six Flags? You need like general admission to get into Six Flags, and then you need admission to Fright Fest.
No,
I believe so.
No, I have the Six Flags
because
monthly
you have
pass.
The season pass. Yeah,
I mean the season pass. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
and I
but
pay like what, $8 a month for it, and like think about it, with like it's totally worth it, because if you go twice a year to Six Flags, you already covered it, like, yourself.
No, of course. But I'm saying if you don't have any of that, then it becomes weird.
Yeah.
For one
So
visit.
that's something definitely to do. Blood Manor. I don't know if you're ever done in the city.
I know of. I've never done it, but I've done a couple different horror attractions. And I did one in Queens that was like the scariest last
I was doing research on it, and it's like 25 minutes, 20, depending on how like scared you get. It's like 25 minutes, like, to complete.
Maybe I'll look into it. I don't know if my girlfriend's gonna be down. There's some of them where like you have to sign waivers to let them touch you and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that, and then you have another place that I saw. It's called Pure something. I gotta find it. I wanted to go. It's on Monroe, New York. It's called Pure Fright something. Hold up, 1 second.
Meanwhile, I wanted to just quickly say that there's two movies. I don't know if you know that they've been announced.
What?
Did you see that they announced Nosferato Remake, and Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp are going to be in that movie?
Oh, no way.
Yes, and Final Destination 6 has actually been.
I saw Final Destination 6. Yep, I saw that.
In the writing process. Wow,
Yeah.
that's exciting, because I'm a big fan of Final Destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though every movie's like completely different, but
I know,
I
but,
definitely
the
like. We
original was
reviewed
one
it,
of my
by the way.
favorite
If you
movies.
guys want to take a look at that, we reviewed it. Okay, I found it. So it's called Pure Terror Scream Park. Apparently, it's rated like pretty high. It's located in Monroe, New York.
Pure Terror Scream.
Pure Terror Scream Park. It's kind of like the same premise of like Universal Horror Nights. Like all these houses you go to, and you kind of gotta walk through them. So that's that. But you have a lot of things around the world. I know there is a haunted house in Tennessee somewhere, and they pay you $20,000 if you complete it. They make you sign. Listen,
what?
They make
Sign
you
me up.
sign. No, check it out. They make you sign a 41 page waiver, and nobody's ever finished it. Isn't that insane? Don't
That's
those
crazy.
numbers just like get
That's
you
kinda
so
hard to believe.
excited? Yeah, I'm telling you.
I don't know, man. Maybe we gotta take a trip there, because I'm getting that money.
Okay.
I find it hard to believe that there's not like one person who just walks in there with like a serious face and doesn't take it seriously.
Check it out. Ready? I'm gonna read it.
Yep.
Win $20,000 if you make it through this haunted house that nobody has ever finished. This is located, I'll tell you right now, in Summertown, Tennessee. It's the scariest haunted house in America, and it's putting $20,000 to prove it. Anybody who can navigate the house will win the cash, but be forewarned, that's an intense application. There's an intense application process to get in, and nobody has ever completed the entire adventure and won the 20 grand.
Interesting. All right, guys. If you think you're up for it, Mr. S might have just volunteered everybody to win $20,000.
Check this out. Another thing I want to add real quick. Sorry. Well, put it this way. It takes 3 to 4 hours to fill out the application, and you need a doctor's note asserting you that you are mentally and physically fit enough to attempt the challenge.
Oh, so, wow. How intense is this?
Like, how can I not, like, get excited and try to go through this? But whatever. That's that. Yeah, so that's all I got for that. We're glad to be back.
Yes, definitely.
We're absolutely glad to be back. I want to let you guys know again, on Mondays, we do release our podcast episode. You can definitely listen to that on the go, on an app, on wherever you're listening to it. And then later in the week, we do release our YouTube video, so you can see our pretty faces and or get horrified. Up to you.
Take a look at all the movies right now. No.
But I don't have anything else, Tommy, unless you want to add something.
No, stay tuned for next week. We'll have some nice and spooky content coming up.
Absolutely, and, without question.
Definitely excited to be back. Appreciate everybody. Again, like and subscribe. Let us know if there's anything that we missed. If there's any movies that you think I should watch, or if there's any other recommendations. Definitely appreciate all the help and support, guys.
Absolutely. We upload content. We listen to everybody. We share a lot of ideas, thoughts, comments, whatever. So please make sure to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Well That's Horrific, and on Twitter at That's Horrific. Because if you don't,
well, that's horrific.
Peace.